Intoxicated man from Guatemala arrested after domestic disturbance. Speeding landscaper arrested near the entrance to the Villages. The Moores family and the Villages top brass pony up contributions for DeSantis White House bid. Judge Janine Pirro to appear before the Villages Mega Club. Homeless man arrested in residence that had been burglarized. Southern Oaks Bridge opens to automobile traffic in the southern end of the Villages. Villager arrested after her Audi hits a parked truck in her neighborhood. A villager who had been sipping Merlot in golf cart arrested on a DUI charge. Controversial plan to resurrect a diner at the back end of the Villages. EMS record subpoenaed in fatal beating of villager at a country club. Village of Pine Hills home garners a $500,000 profit. The annual back-to-school prayer event set for this Sunday. This and more coming up. An intoxicated man from Guatemala was arrested after a domestic dispute. A homeowner said the 32-year-old Sebastian Ramirez Morales has a history of drinking and causing conflict. When officers were called to the home late Friday night, Morales appeared to be intoxicated. He also had a mark on his back. The homeowner told police that Morales is always drinking and becomes belligerent. He said that Morales had broken a door, broken a window, and put a knife through a wall. He said that Morales punched him several times and pushed him, causing a glass table to break. The man said he grabbed an extension cord and hit Morales in self-defense. I'd have done more than that. I'd have thrown his ass out in the street. When officers took Morales into custody, he was found to be in possession of about 1 gram of methamphetamine. He was arrested on charges of possession of methamphetamine and domestic battery. He was booked at the Lake County Jail and released after posting a $3,000 bond. A speeding landscaper, classified as a habitual traffic offender, was arrested near the entrance of the Villages. Robert Stanley Gould, 39 of Wildwood, was driving a black Chevy SUV at 10:49 a.m. Saturday on County Road 466A and Drake Drive near the entrance to the village of Pine Ridge when he was caught on radar traveling 53 miles an hour in a 45-mile-an-hour zone. During a traffic stop, Gould admitted his license was suspended for financial reasons. The officer ran a computer check and found that Gould had been classified as a habitual offender in 2014 and has 6 convictions for driving while license suspended. He was also wanted on a Marion County warrant for overdue child support. Gould was arrested on a third-degree felony charge of driving while license suspended. He was booked at the Lake County Jail and released after posting a $5,000 bond. The Moores family was among the leading local contributors to Governor Ron DeSantis' presidential campaign this year, according to the updated filings from the Federal Election Commission. On Tuesday, the FEC updated its records to reflect political contributions made to candidates and super political action committees through the first 6 months of 2023. Among the leading contributors is a collection of top brass in the Villages and multiple members of the Moores family. It's the good old boy system, what I'm telling you. That includes Mark Morse and his wife, Melissa, who each donated a maximum contribution of $6,600. According to the FEC records, Morse had made a total of $18,200 in political contributions this year, including the $6,600 to U.S. Senator Rick Scott, as well as $5,000 to the Let's Get to Work Political Action Committee, which supports Scott's political ambitions. Jennifer Parr and her husband, James, also each made a maximum contribution of $6,600 to the DeSantis campaign. In 2019, Parr made $11,200 in contributions to President Donald J. Trump's campaign and a political action committee associated with the campaign. Additional contributors to DeSantis' campaign for the presidency include Lindsay Blaze, who is the president of the Citizens First Bank and daughter of Tracy Morse, and Blaze's husband, Brian, who each made the maximum contribution of $6,600. Robert Chandler IV, who serves as the village's vice president for development, and his wife Jennifer, both also made maximum contributions. Chandler serves on the powerful Village Center Community Development District Board of Supervisors. Until recently, Chandler was the developer's representative in the Amenity Authority Committee. Dale Bowerman, who owns and operates the village's Technology Solutions Group and is a supervisor for Community Development District 14, made a maximum contribution of of $6,600, and Janet West, who owns the Tanaj Salon Institute, and her husband Michael each did the same. Martin Zuro, the senior vice president of development in the Villages, and his wife Mary both made maximum contributions as well. Additional maximum contributions came from Brian Hudson, an attorney for Micklin and Burns, PA, that represents the Villages, Randy McDaniel, who is the director of education at the Villages Charter School, and Tommy McDonough, a director of development of the Villages. In addition to the maximum contributions, Phil Markward, who is the publisher of the Villages Daily Sun, made a $3,300 contribution to the DeSantis campaign, and Elliot J. Sussman, who is the chairman of the board of directors of the Villages Health, made a $2,000 contribution. As my dad would say, you know which side your bread's buttered on. Judge Janine Perot has been booked to appear later this month before the Villages Mega Club. Perot will be the keynote speaker at the Villages Mega Club rally set for August 27th at Eisenhower Recreation Center. Doors will open that day at 1:30 p.m. Perot has become the national figure thanks to her appearance on Fox News. She was the first female district attorney of Westchester County in New York. She ran for New York Attorney General in 2006 but lost to Democrat Andrew Cuomo. General admission tickets for the event in the Villages are $40 and include a signed copy of Perot's book, Crimes Against America. VIP tickets are $75 and include a signed copy of Perot's book, a photo op, and preferred seating. A homeless man was arrested after he was found in a residence that had been burglarized. Travis Terrell Shannon, 41, who is homeless, was found at about 7 p.m. Monday at a residence in the 300 block of Jackson Street, according to the arrest report. There was a broken window at a home, and it was in disarray. Shannon, who was arrested earlier this year after he was found in an unoccupied home in Wildwood, fled the scene and was not taken into custody. Wildwood police received a report at about 5 p.m. Tuesday that Shannon was back in the same vicinity. Officers spotted Shannon and chased him down. However, he resisted efforts to be handcuffed. Shannon was arrested on charges of burglary, criminal mischief, and resisting arrest. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center on a $35,000 bond. Now, I read this because this is why I think it's important for especially part-timers that live here, snowbirds, to have a home watch service. People like this roam around inside the Villages because our streets are open to the public. This guy can be walking through the Villages. You wouldn't know who he was. You would just think he was just some other dude. And if you're a snowbird, these people spot out your home. There are certain things about your house when you leave that if it's not taken care of, it's key that shows that that house is unoccupied. And you have to make sure they're taking care of this. So a home watch will generally alert you on these things, plus they check on your home. And if things inside doesn't look right, they let you know as the homeowner. So please, if you're a snowbird, if you don't have a home watch service, they don't cost that much. You really need to get one in your area. Don't depend on your neighbors to watch your house. They're going to travel. They're going to take that cruise. They're going to go visit their grandkids, and your house is going to be the least of their concern. The Southern Oaks Bridge marks a first for the Villages with both automobile and golf cart traffic using the bridge over the Florida Turnpike. The Southern Oaks Bridge opened to 4 lanes of automobile traffic on Thursday. It will soon be open for 2 lanes of golf cart traffic. The bridge will lead to a world of new activities, including the Shallow Creek Championship Course with its Boosters restaurant and the new Eastport Town Center. That's where the 4th Square is going to be. You know, just to give ourselves a little pat on the back, during one of my WNL shows that we did probably 2 years ago, Linda announced where the 4th Square was going to be when everybody was saying Sawgrass is where the 4th Square was at, and we kept telling everybody, no, it's not. And she found the exact location, showed it on the map. So may I say, good work, Linda, on finding that years ago. A villager was arrested after her Audi hit a parked truck in her neighborhood. The owner of a black Dodge truck was visiting a customer at about 2 p.m. Wednesday at a home on Issawild Way in the village of Charlotte when he heard a loud bang and saw that his truck had been hit by a black Audi sedan with New Jersey license plates, according to the arrest report. The impact was so violent that the truck sustained a broken axle mount and was not drivable. The driver of the Audi was identified as 64-year-old Susie Marie Di Giacomo, who lived lives at 3173 is a Wild Way. It appears she had been drinking. She agreed to participate in field sobriety exercises, but had trouble maintaining her balance and did not properly follow directions. She provided breath samples that registered .199 and .200 blood alcohol content. Di Giacomo was transported to the UF Health, the village's hospital freestanding ER at Brownwood for a medical evaluation. Once she was cleared, she was taken to the Sumter County Detention Center where she was booked on a charge of driving under the influence. The Ohio native was also ticketed on a charge of having an open container after open liquor was found in her vehicle. She was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $2,000 bond. This one looks like she put up a fight. A villager who had been sipping Merlot in her golf cart was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence. Stacy DeRoe Fitzgerald, 61, of the village of Piedmont, was found at about 8:30 p.m. Tuesday in a blue Yamaha golf cart stopped in the right westbound lane of El Camino Real near the intersection of Botello Avenue near the village of Alhambra. I don't believe unless you got a street legal golf cart, you're allowed to be on El Camino Real with a golf cart. The native New Yorker was asleep and had suffered abrasions on both of her knees, according to the arrest report. The village public safety department was summoned to the scene, and Fitzgerald told the paramedics she suffered the injury when she fell out of her golf cart. It appeared that she had been drinking, and an open container of black box premium Merlot wine was found in the golf cart. You can't have an open container in your car. You can't have an open container in your golf cart. Fitzgerald was invited to perform field sobriety exercises, but she almost fell twice. She refused to provide breath samples. She was taken into custody on a DUI charge. She was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $1,000 bond. A controversial plan has been resurrected for the construction of a diner at the back end of the villages. T. Lynn Properties LLC is bringing back a plan for a two-story building to be known as Teague Plaza to be constructed on 1.64 acres of land along County Road 25 and Teague Trail near the intersection of Griffin Avenue. That's up behind the historical area up there. Probably, if I can remember the story from years ago, the Silver Lake area. The new building would be constructed behind homes on Tarson Boulevard on the historic site of the villages. The proposed project had already raised concerns of villagers in 2016. They objected to the diner's likely early morning hours and the traffic it would bring. Although Daryl's Diner has not been formally named in documents filed with the town of Lady Lake, villagers have long been suspicious of Lawrence Breach of T. Lynn Properties, who is known to be an investor in the Daryl's Diner chain, as well as internet cafes. After a hard-fought battle, T. Lynn Properties won approval for the project back in 2018. Documents on file with the town indicated the project was shelved in part because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The first step in reviving the project will be presentation before the Parks, Recreation, and Tree Advisory Board, set for 5:30 p.m. Wednesday, August the 9th at Lady Lake Town Hall. I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. Just because you pay a premium price to have that water view, premium price because you got nobody behind you but an empty field full of cows, and you just love it there, you cannot and you will not get any guarantee from anybody that it will always stay that way. A subpoena has been issued for EMS records in connection with a fatal beating of an 87-year-old villager at a country club. That would be Glenview. The subpoena was issued this week seeking all records from the village's public safety department in connection with the injury suffered by Dean William Zook, who died July 16th, more than 2 weeks after he was attacked over a fender bender at Glenview Country Club. 2 weeks later? I could have swore I read it in the article the last time they said he died the next day. Oh well, what difference? Okay. The subpoena would appear to indicate the prosecutor's office is beginning to build a case in seeking justice in Zook's death. His alleged assailant, 75-year-old Robert Moore of the village of Polo Ridge, remains free on a $30,000 bond. He is facing a charge of aggravated manslaughter of an elderly person. The story has gained traction in the national media, including Golf Digest. do I have to say it, Florida's friendliest hometown. The now infamous photo of Moore showing off his hole-in-one at a Tarpon Boyle Executive Golf Course, originally published at villagesnews.com, is also being republished by national news outlets. It was the hole-in-one photograph that surfaced in a Google search performed by Sumter County Sheriff's detectives and proved instrumental in identifying Moore as a suspect. In the wake of the attack, Zook was helicoptered to UF Health Shands Medical Center in Gainesville after suffering a massive brain bleed when he was punched in the jaw. Morris, who stands 6 foot 2 inches tall and weighs 220 pounds, was apparently enraged on the evening of June 28th when he walked out of the country club and believed that Zook's vehicle had struck his black Lexus in a parking lot. Moore allegedly began to punching Zook before realizing it wasn't his Lexus. He was transported by ambulance to UF Health at Villages Hospital and then flown to Gainesville. At the time, he was unresponsive. He was placed on hospice care at Shands on July 15th and died the following day. That's where I got that, died the following day, due to the trauma he sustained after being punched. I would say this guy's got an anger problem, a drinking problem, or both, but either way, I think the family deserves justice. An elegant 4-bedroom pool home in the village of Pine Hills recently sold for $500,000 more than it cost brand new in 2016. Congratulations on a good profit. I got nothing bad to say about somebody making a good profit on their home. I could make a really nice one here on mine. I don't have no $1 million house, but I can make a very nice profit here. Problem is, where am I going to go? No matter where I go, it's going to cost as much, if not more, to get the same thing I got. The purchase price of the home located along Sharon Rose Wirtgens Preserve at 875 Kowska Way was $1.2 million. The deal closed July 26th and was brokered by listing agent Casey Hilliard of the Cregan Group in Maitland and selling agent Karen Camperman of Keller Williams Cornerstone Realty in Summerfield. The expanded IB model home was built in 2016 and purchased in November of that year for $700,200 by Susan M. Reith, who owned it until last week. It went on the market June 6 for $1.5 million, and the price was reduced a week later to $1.399 million. The home went under contract June 23rd. A breathtaking water view was one of the top-selling points for the 2,701 square foot home, along with a solar heated saltwater pool and accompanying hot tub. The gourmet kitchen boasts granite countertops, 42-inch cabinets, and a built-in oven and cooktop. Other distinctive features include a crown molding, plantation shutters, whole house generator fueled by a 250-gallon underground underground propane tank, and an outdoor kitchen with gas grill, sink, and refrigerator. Congratulations on your profit. Well, here's an update on the lady. A villager has been jailed without bond after her third drunk driving arrest within a year. Stacy DeRoe Fitzgerald, 61, of the village of Piedmont, was booked Thursday afternoon at the Marion County Jail on a Sumter County warrant, charging her with violating her probation in a drunk driving case from earlier this year. She had been released Wednesday afternoon from the Sumter County Detention Center following her arrest on a charge of driving under the influence after she was found with a carton of Merlot in her Yamaha golf cart on El Camino Real. Her most recent arrest is considered a violation of her previous probation. In May, she had been placed on probation as a result of her arrest this past January after her vehicle sustained a flat tire and was blocking traffic at Buena Vista Boulevard and Parr Drive. Her blood alcohol in that case measured .305 blood alcohol content. She later lost her driver's license for 6 months. A second DUI case is still pending in Lake County. In that incident, in August 2022, she crashed into a small tree, a carport attached to a residence, and a parked car at a home in the 800 block of Sharon Drive on the historic side of the Villages. She was severely intoxicated, and she had to be taken to a local hospital rather than being immediately arrested. Tests later showed that Fitzgerald had a blood alcohol content of .38, which the investigator noted was nearly toxic. Sounds like it. Vodka bottles had been found in her car. They'll find her dead someday. Just hopefully she doesn't kill anybody else. An annual back-to-school prayer event is set for Sunday evening. Last year, more than 1,800 people, young and old, from over 100 churches gathered to pray at schools across Lake, Sumter, and surrounding counties. In communities, the local school is not only the center of activity, but also a great opportunity, and we believe that so goes the school, so goes the community. With those thoughts in mind, we have asked the question, how does a community partner together and network of valuable resources to support its local school? It is this question, along with challenges that our communities, state and nation are facing, that has prompted local leaders to join together and partner to prayer, said one of the leaders of the annual prayer event, Pastor Sidney Brock of Heritage Community Church in Fruitland Park. A speeding driver without a license was arrested after a traffic stop at a fast food restaurant in Magnolia Plaza in the Villages. A Wildwood police officer was operating a radar gun in the area of Warm Springs Avenue and Marshbend Trail when he caught 22-year-old Dustin Lee Warwick of Coleman traveling at 46 miles per hour in a 35 miles per hour zone, according to a arrest report from the Wildwood Police Department. When asked for his driver's license, Warwick replied, "No, I have never been able to get a license." He was arrested on a charge of driving without a license. He was also ticketed for speeding. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $150 bond. An Oxford man was sentenced to 10 days in jail after a woman reported his unwanted attention at the Red Lobster restaurant in the Villages. Last week in Sumter County Court, 48-year-old James Stevens was sentenced after pleading a no contest to a charge of battery. He was released from the Sumter County Detention Center on Thursday, having already served time in jail after his bond was revoked in the Red Lobster case. A 20-year-old woman complained about Stevens' advances earlier this year at a seafood restaurant at Buffalo Ridge Plaza. He had been free on bond in that incident when he was found on July 14th slumped over the wheel of his white F-150 pickup at Taco Bell in the Villages. Stevens, who was sentenced to 20 days in jail last year after he was caught driving after a drunk driving conviction, appeared to be intoxicated. They never learn. A villager was arrested after turning down his hearing aid and trying to ignore a woman with whom he resides. I find that funny because I know a guy that done that. Whenever his wife would be going around the house and talking all the time, this person could be my dad. He's sitting there in his chair reading his newspaper, and mom's walking around the house and just talking and, talking. And dad would just reach up and he'd tune her out, is the way he put it. A woman who lives in the home said she and him were arguing when he turned his hearing devices off and began to look around and ignore her. The woman had so much rage, she took Himmerite's shoes off and threw them to the other side of the room. She retrieved the shoes and returned them to Himmerite, but the argument resumed. She claimed Himmerite threw the shoes at her and hit her in the head. He was taken into custody and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center, where he was initially held without bond. I don't know. Here's an update to an old story. A woman charged in a fatal hit and run on Rolling Acres Road is facing scrutiny of her social media accounts by the prosecutor's office. Tara Renee Shizzle, 31 of Lady Lake, has pleaded not guilty to charges of leaving the scene of an accident involving death, leaving the scene of an accident involving serious bodily injury, and filing a false insurance claim. Shizzle, a Lady Center for Rehab physical therapist assistant, remains free on a $42,000 bond, which was posted by her parents. This past week at Lady Lake Court, the prosecutor's office filed a list of tangible evidence. It could be introduced at the upcoming trial. The list includes Shizzle's phone records and her social media accounts, including Facebook, Twitter, and Lycaden. One interesting item in the list is 2 pages of tweets with replies by Tara Shizzle. Shizzle originally reported to her insurance company that she had hit a deer on the night of September 11th. However, an investigation by the Highway Patrol revealed that Shizzle's silver Jeep Cherokee Sport hit and killed 40-year-old Jamie Wines as she was walking along Rolling Acres Road, not far from the American Legion Post 347. Her male companion was also hit and was airlifted to Ocala Regional Medical Center with serious injuries. Within 12 hours, Shizzle contacted her insurance company and claimed she had hit a deer. Investigators obtained an audio recording of the initial call to the insurance company and noted that Shizzle appeared to sound nervous. She never contacted law enforcement. Florida Highway Patrol investigators received an anonymous tip that the vehicle they were looking for is parked at the parking lot of Shizzle's apartment complex. The vehicle was impounded and a blood sample was taken from the front of the vehicle. Ultimately, blood samples was determined to be a match to Wines. Wines' companion that night later told investigators they had been walking to Wawa at U.S. Highway 27 and 441 at County Road 466 in Lady Lake. He said Wines was walking behind him when they were hit. He said the vehicle stopped momentarily, but even after he yelled at the driver, she kept going. We'll keep an eye on what's going on there, and I'll try to keep you updated. Villagers say those who want to use amenities should buy a home in Florida's friendliest hometown. Villager Deborah Cameron said she saw non-residents in the pool over the weekend at Rohan Recreation Center. They were not residents, they were not renters with IDs. They were visitors, waiting for their friends to come out of the pool. She said no one was checking IDs. A similar problem was reported at another pool. At St. James Family Pool a few days ago, an employee walked onto the deck a few feet, started pointing a finger at the many children and adults, and then just turned around and walked out. Not a single ID was checked. Not everyone was in the water. That's a dumb unwritten rule that needs addressing. It's a frustration voiced by the growing number of residents who complain of rampant violations. Villager Nancy Osborne said residents of neighboring communities know the game and the system, and they know how to play the villages. Several people knew of a resident from Del Webb, an upper-level pickleball player, being rated and plays daily and entering the tournaments here. She said a friend pays $1 per month rent to get a renter's ID. $1 a month? I've never heard of that, ever. I personally asked this person if she wanted to participate in the village's activities. Why didn't she buy here? Her answer? She could afford twice the house at Del Webb. Osborne said, that's not true. I've been to Del Webb. I have looked around. Their prices of homes might be a little bit cheaper than here, but she's feeding you a line of crap. She's not buying twice the house. No one likes rules, but you wouldn't welcome uninvited people in our homes. So why would you invite uninvited people to our pools and recreation amenities with them? However, Scott Sandler of Delaware said when he was in the villages, he was repeatedly asked to show ID. I spent a month in the villages looking at purchasing a home. I was at the pool every day and visited several pools while there. Sometimes I would be at one pool and leave to go to another. I can truthfully claim that I was made to show an ID at every pool I attended. The people checking for IDs are very courteous and respectful. They are. I find it hard to believe, after me being here for 25 plus years, that you got ID'd at every pool that you went to, because I've been to my pool here in the last 9 years a few hundred times. I have never been ID'd. Never. Figure the odds out on that one. He added he would give high marks to the recreational department staff. I would too, but I think it needs to be addressed. It does. Everybody knows, Rohan knows, the whole recreational department knows that this violation happens all over the villages all the time. Probably every day, somewhere. Oh, she's back. Villagers yelled after her 7th drunk driving arrest is hoping to win her freedom on Monday. You heard that right. 7th drunk driving arrest. Donna Hanson, 63, of the village of Chatham, was booked Friday afternoon at the Marion County Jail after her bond was revoked in connection with a 2022 golf cart drunk driving arrest. She is set for a hearing at 2 p.m. Monday in Marion County Court in front of Judge Peter Brigham. Hanson had been free on a $10,000 bond in the golf cart DUI when she was arrested June 20th after an intoxicated altercation with a man at her home. Prosecutor's office on June 29th decided not to pursue the battery charge because the man she allegedly attacked expressed his desire not to see her prosecuted. However, the incident exposed the fact that the native New Yorker had been drinking, which was a violation of her bond in the golf cart DUI. Prior to 2022 drunk driving arrest, Hanson already had 6 convictions for driving under the influence, including convictions in Broward, Volusia, Palm Beach counties. Put her away. They just don't learn. I'd say minimum time in jail after 6 times being arrested, 6 months. A villager who lost his driver's license after his Cadillac hit an Amazon delivery vehicle. This past week in Sumter County, 56-year-old Augustine Anthony Bolo of the village of Hawkins pleaded no contest to a charge of reckless driving, which had been reduced from a charge of driving under the influence. He will lose his license for 6 months, had been placed on probation for 6 months, and has been ordered to perform 25 hours of community service. Bolo was driving a white 2007 Cadillac ST5 when the accident occurred at about 8 p.m. January 12th in the 1400 block of Fraser Way, according to the arrest report. Bolo claimed the Amazon driver backed into him and insisted he did not do anything wrong. Yeah, that always works. Bull appeared to be confused and lethargic. He admitted he had taken Xanax earlier in that day. Okay, then why are you driving? You can't drive a vehicle when you take this type of medication. This is why I keep saying, be careful driving golf carts and cars around here, because there's people out there, I won't call them drug addicts, but they're on pharmaceutical drugs. This guy was one of them. They think because a doctor gives a prescription, they can take this medication and just go drive their car. But they don't listen. He declined to participate in standard field sobriety exercises, claiming he has hip and knee issues. That could be true. He was allowed to take part in modified field sobriety exercises such as reciting the alphabet. Ooh, that always gets him. It was hard to understand what he was saying, the officer wrote in the arrest report. Bolo refused to provide a breast sample. The Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania native had been released in 2020 from the Florida Department of Corrections following his conviction in 2016 in Broward County on a charge of lewd and lascivious molestation. He's a sex offender. In 2012, when he came home and molested a 15-year-old babysitter, according to the local press accounts at the time. Due to the conviction, he was required to register as a sex offender, living in Hawkins. Well, let's see how many holes in one we got this week in the villages. Looks like 4. A villager was elated after getting his first hole-in-one. Gary Dorfert scored the lucky ace on Thursday, July 27th at the Lob Lolly Executive Golf Course. My fellow players and I didn't get to see it fall in because the green is elevated and the pin was located behind the sand trap, he said. He used a 7-iron for the 134-yard shot. Congratulations, Gary, on your first hole-in-one. A villager made an amazing comeback with a hole-in-one just 3.5 months after spinal surgery. Dan Lynch of the village of Ashland scored the lucky ace at Destin, hole number 2 at Bonifay. Bonifay is a country club. He had surgery in which 5 levels of his spines were fused. Exercise was key to my recovery, he said. You're doing a great job there, Dan. Keep it up. Congratulations on your hole-in-one. An early morning golfer got his 5th, count 'em, 5th hole-in-one. Villager Ed Hanlon scored the lucky ace at 8 a.m. Monday, July 31st at hole number 8 at the Mangrove Executive Golf Course, one of my favorites, Mangrove and Pelican. In addition to being his 5th hole-in-one, it was his 3rd ace in the villages. Well, that's just great. Great to hear. Congratulations on your hole-in-one, Ed. A village of Monarch Grove resident was thrilled after getting his first hole-in-one. Joe Boring got the lucky ace August the 3rd at hole number 5 of the Red Fox Executive Golf Course. He got it at 120 yards with a 7-iron. Congratulations on your hole-in-one there, Joe. I played Red Fox when it first opened up, and it was a brand new golf course. I thought for an executive course, it was pretty nice. I haven't been down there since. Let's do a couple of letters to the editor. I'm going to do a lot of them because I know there's been a lot of news today, and I like to keep this to a half an hour. The cyclists are getting out of hand. They do not stop at stop signs or even some red light. They ride down 4-lane roads and clog up the roads. Why doesn't the police stop this behavior? Does someone have to be killed to make people wake up? That's sent in by Donna Thies, the village of Piedmont. Okay, that being said, that'll be the news for this week. I just want to say thanks for subscribing. Thanks for the comments. Keep watching the videos. Let me know if you're enjoying this news.
Get me the keys in the golf cart.